Hello, honey. It's time for your day one prep. All right, let's get started. I'll just start with weapons. Basically, just want to go over this. Number one, we got Midnight Q. If you have a Fate Bringer as well, it's probably just as good. You can get Firefly and Frenzy on here. I have Rampage, but you probably want Frenzy here. That'd be the God roll. Really strong PvE hand cannon. But yeah, Fatebringer has explosive payload Firefly. That's probably just as good, if not better. Next up, Succession. This is my go-to utility sniper. You get lead from gold on it, so picking up heavy also increases ammo to this weapon. Very good day one perk. Allows you to run double special. So this is the sniper I would use if I had to shoot like crit spots on a boss or something, right? Like a utility sniper. For a damage sniper, I go with Supremacy here. This thing is kinetic tremors, so with enhanced, you just shoot two shots and it starts doing burst damage over time. And rewind rounds, you just get like a shit ton of ammo with this basically. If you have a non-enhanced, then it's 3 shots for kinetic tremors to proc. But honestly, using this over Izanagi's, I think Izanagi is a throw-in day ones now. It's just not worth the exotic slot, and it takes up, I mean, like for the amount of extra damage that you get, I just don't see it being worth it, to be quite honest. Unless it's like super tight damage, I don't see us running Izzy. I think Supremacy would be fine. You'd be better off, right? Like, usually the damage isn't that tight. You'd be better off just running something like this, right? Sunshot, Supremacy, Apex, or even like maybe a Trace Rifle or something. I don't know. But yeah, next up, Riptide. This is my baby. I've used this in like every single day one. Lead from gold in the first perk for the ammo. Chill Clip allows you to stun overloads. But you don't really need Chill Clip. You just want to get a damage perk here, or Chill Clip. So any of these 2 perks works. Just a random drop from PvP. You can focus it at Shax. Mountaintop. This thing is goated. I'd get auto-loading or lead from gold here, your personal preference. Plus, sorry. I'd get Frenzy or Vorpal in the second column. Probably Vorpal though, because you might be using this for damage. Like if you're gonna do damage swaps with anything, use Mountaintop over Izzy. I think it's just better. You want like an auto loading Vorpal one, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it for Mountaintop. And you can launch yourself, so it's a really cool movement tech weapon. Next up, we got Scissor. This is the Trials Trace Rifle, but you can just get the seasonal one with like a decent roll. Like it not. It's just for utility if you need a kinetic trace rifle. Navigator, we've already talked about this. Super good because firing this weapon gives 40% damage resist to both the user and the target. So like for Crota sword bearers, for example, shooting them with this, super fucking good. It can really keep you alive in day ones. This will be super helpful. So either me, Con, or Eli would be running this in the day one most likely. Next up, Thorn. I have this here over Osteo just because they buffed hand cannons, and with necrotic grips, it's very strong. So basically just, an exotic primary, if you have the kinetic slot for it, worth running. A pretty good ad clear. Osteo's good, but I'm kind of based. I like Thorn. Lumina, this thing is slept on. We only need 1 person running it, so if anything, I'll probably run it. Got the catalyst for it too, but gives a 10% damage buff and healing to your allies when you shoot them with it, so pretty cool gun there. I think we've used it in all of our previous day ones. Sunshot, yeah, I mean, it's busted. They'll probably nerf it before day one, but if they don't, this thing is a fucking machine, especially with restoration. Cartesian coordinate, this would be probably the best energy fusion in the game. It's a roll drop though now, so if you don't have one, probably pretty hard to get it. Next best alternative would be Eremite, where you get lead from gold and controlled burst, which are better perks, but Cartesian's a rapid fire frame, and Eremite is I don't know what's called, the one that is worse than a rapid fire frame. Div, yeah, I mean, everybody's got that. Zali's if you just want like a legendary Sunshot alternative, and I'd also say Luna's Howl. This is definitely worth getting, I think. They both have incandescent in the first in the second column, but Zali's, you get explosive payload in the first column. With Luna's Howl, you can actually get heal clip in the first column. I don't have heal clip on this one, but heal clip is super, super good because of Ember of Benevolence, where applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies grants increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short time. So you can get your abilities back super fast, not only from throwing your melee, but every single time you get a kill and proc heal clip, you'll get ability regen. So I think that is very good, and they're both 140, so I would prefer using this over Zali's Bane. Next up, Forbearance. I mean, they're nerfing Chain Reaction, but it's still probably going to be really good. This has been the best ad clear weapon forever. Retrace Path. I really like this thing. If you're a solar warlock, I'd recommend crafting it. It's kind of tedious because you have to play Dares of Eternity, but if you have it crafted, go craft it right now with Incandescent and Shoot to Loot. Shoot to Loot's an amazing utility perk. Basically, don't ever have to fucking pick up heavy ammo, so it's goated. And then I also have this Scout Rifle, which you can't get anymore. There's Shoot to Loot and Bolt Shot. So, I mean, just having like a few Shoot to Loot weapons, it's nice. If you can slot into your loadout for a damage or a boss encounter, I think it will save you, because a lot of deaths in day ones are people desperately running for heavy ammo and getting killed, and this completely negates that. So very cool. Next up, Indebted Kindness. I thought this thing was kind of stupid, but it's actually insane. It's the only gun in the game that's like this. It's special ammo. It fires it's like a rocket sidearm. In the first column, you can get lead from gold here. I don't have lead from gold, but it's a super easy farm in the first encounter. It takes like 30 seconds to farm it, so it's super easy. You want lead from gold, and then the second column you can get like Volt Shot, Surrounded, Adagio, like any damage perk. Just lead from gold. That's all you need here. And yeah, now heavy weapons is probably what matters the most. Obviously, Apex Predator is best damage in the game with Reconstruction Bait and Switch. It cooks, right? Parasite for burst damage, like Atrax, again, like super unlikely. I've never had to use this in the day one, but it's always nice to have it ready because we never know. Lament, also super niche, but we ended up sorting Crota, which I never would have thought. So yeah, have Lament ready, but I still doubt that we're gonna sort a boss again. Galahorn's pretty obvious, you just need one. It'll probably be Heart of running G-Horn day one or Rioa. Next up, Whisper. They buffed it recently. You can get crafted with field prep. I'm not 100% sure if you get... Someone is trying to tell me that you don't get more ammo reserves with it, but it's better than Mulligan, I guess, so might as well craft it with field prep. Actually, I don't know. I'll figure that out. I'll let everybody know. I don't feel like re-recording this. Mulligan or field prep here. You just want to get it crafted with the Catalyst, obviously. It's super, super good now. Tractor Cannon it'll probably just be Eli running this the whole day one, to be honest. He's our Titan. It just makes the most sense to have him on Tractor. Eager-Edge Sword for mobility. That's pretty obvious. Edge Transit. This is the best damage thing in the game. Super, super good. Bakes bosses. I'd prefer to use rockets in the day one because it's very easy to kill yourself with GLs. When we go into damage phases, it's very important that when we start shooting the grenade launchers, nobody in the well is moving. Okay? Anyone with damage supers should be standing in the back where they can just jump over everyone and throw it. Right? Because if someone's popping their Broodweaver in front, they end up jumping up in the air, and their elbow's probably going to get in front of someone. Elbow's going to get in front of someone's GL shot and kill them. I watched 6 deaths happen in our Pantheon run because of people walking in front of each other's GLs. Lastly, Leviathan's Breath. Catalyst is a must-have. Super easy to get. Just go in that EDZ lost sector and kill yellow bars. I had to kill 5 and then I got it. Yeah, best sustained damage, 1 phase Death Singer day one with that. And then Xenophage. This thing is, if there's an ad clear encounter day one, we're using this. It's so fucking good. The only problem is that it doesn't have great ammo economy, but Cenotaph exists, guys. A few more weapons I just wanted to talk about quick. Forerunner, this thing is extremely good for killing tormentors, and there's going to be a few more like tormentor type enemies added in the final shape, so this thing literally melts them. Super high precision damage, really good ammo economy too. So again, niche weapon, but always just consider that this might be good in a day one. I also have Heritage here. It's really good, but honestly, I think like just use Riptide, because then you don't have to get as close. Like Heritage probably does more damage, but Riptide is just or just any fusion is so much safer than using shotguns, I feel like. Wither Horde I have here. Obviously, you know, only one person needs it. I think Francis will be using Wither Horde day one as our hunter. Makes the most sense to me. If he's not using like Warden's Law or some, I guess he'd have that to switch to. But yeah, Ignition Code, super good blinding nades as well. Only for like if someone's doing mechanics and they have to like run into stuff and they don't have time to kill shit and they just have to get in and get out and they just have to fucking blind shit and do the mechanic, this is good. But also like a niche thing. You don't want to go in with this, but there is a scenario where this could be good on day one. So just blinding nades GL. I have slide shot Vorpal because I'm goated like that. Tusk of the Boar, not a great roll. I think you can get Slideways here, which is just slide shot basically, and then chain reaction. Literally just kinetic forbearance, right? Like this thing is pretty good. So yeah, but you have to play Iron Banner. That's the cost, I'm afraid. Aramite, like I said, just really good if you don't have Cartesian, next best thing. And Acrius, this is also another really niche exotic, but there's a boss that for some reason stands perfectly still and we can just cook him day one. This is it, but that's if he's right in front of us standing perfectly still and not fighting back. So highly doubt it, but yeah, I thought I'd mention Acrius. Okay, now I'm actually done. And that's why I'm going to get into armor pieces now. I don't need to explain how this works, basically we'll just run out with a Trace Rifle. If anything, me and Khan are going to be the Sino bitches day one. And then Heart Evan Rio on Phoenix or Sunbracers. Verity's Brow, kind of a niche exotic, but I recommend having it if we, like, again, really need to min-max damage. Basically, this is kind of a tricky one. Weapon Final Blows with a damage type matching your subclass. Energy grant Death Rose, so it just gives a boost to grenade energy and damage. And if you're running this with a Demolitionist Rocket, so you can craft this with Demolitionist and bait and switch, could be really good, but again, like super niche. Another thing that we might only have one person run day one if we need it is this. It gives you grenade, melee, health, and rift energy for you and all your allies upon using your super. So yeah, with like a demo rocket wouldn't be bad either if we like really need to cook, but also like kind of niche again. Yeah, next up, Aeons. We'd only have like one person running it. If anything, Hardev would use Aeons or Rioa just if we needed the extra ammo, but in the latest Pantheon, they haven't even made any of the yellow bars finishable, so I don't know. Aeons hasn't been as good in the recent day ones, I feel like. There just hasn't been a whole ton of yellow bars, but Cenotaph exists, so it doesn't really matter. Sunbracers, again, I think we'll only have like one or two at absolute most running this day one. You can just spam solar grenades with it. It's super good. You just use your melee and then you can spam solar nades. I think everyone knows how that works. Very good. Phoenix Protocol, probably the best day one exotic. You just infinite wells, right? You get it. I don't ever want to see anyone using fucking transversive steps in the day one. It doesn't help the team in the slightest, and it's honestly a throw if you're using this. So, Luna Factions too, I just don't really think they're worth it anymore. Boots of the Assembler, create beneficial secret projectiles. Yeah, like, it's not bad, but also like a super niche one. Maybe if like I was running this with Lumina, be worth it, but Yeah, like, not really worth it. Rain of Fire, this is an absolute must. Icarus Dashing reloads your gun, so you swap to this before a damage encounter, or just use this the whole encounter, and yeah, you can just unload everything with this. It's super, super good for damage. So, must have everybody. Must have that. Quick rundown of loadouts too. I would not worry about prepping loadouts the way I did because they're adding prismatic and final shape, and we don't know how that's gonna affect anything. But before the day one, everyone's loadouts should look something like this, just so you have shit prepped. So the first one I have here, this is just the Sunbracer's Ad Clear loadout. Yeah, you can copy those fragments basically just so you get healing off grenade kills and stuff. You use heat rises with it, and then you Phoenix dive. That's how you get your restoration. You should have infinite heat rises basically. So really good ad clear Sunbracer's build there. For Strand, if I'm on Strand, I'll also probably be on Sino, so I would swap to this before damage phase basically. I have Necrotics. It gives me like the slightest damage buff with my melee, but like it literally isn't even worth switching to. I just have it because Sino's useless in damage. But yeah, the main gist of it is you just want to have this so you can like swap to your surge mods. Yeah, this is what I'll be doing day one, but even like you could just fucking equip like this with Sino and just run it like that if you, it's probably fine, but I'm doing loadout swaps just to be extra efficient and because I can. It also depends on like how fast paced the encounter is too though, right? Phoenix Protocol, all 4 of these loadouts are all in red, meaning they're all interchangeable. They have the same fragments. So all of these fragments, if you switch to a loadout with a different fragment, then you lose your super and all your abilities. So when switching loadouts, all your fragments and aspects have to be the same, as well as your super. But Rift, melee, and grenade, you can change in between loadouts. I just have healing nade on everything because it's goated. Yeah, and then Ember of Empyrean here because yeah, restoration extension from both of these. Ember of Benevolence, like I was talking about with Heal Clip and Radiant earlier, you get increased ability regen. And Ember of Torches, which powered melee attacks and against combats make you and your allies radiant. So if you have to deal with a barrier, you want a damage buff and you don't have a well, then you use your melee with this. So yeah, basically just Phoenix, Cenotaph, and then I would switch to the Rain of Fire before damage. I also have an Apotheosis Veil one, but that's super niche. Can I stop getting error coded? Okay, well that's about it anyway. So I just wanted to talk about a few more like day one tips or like things I've learned, things to be cautious of. So firstly, I just have this. This is basically for any like ad clear encounter. This is what we're gonna go in with on day one. So 1 Phoenix Protocol of Xenophage, Heart of 1 Sunbracer Warlock with Xenophage, that would be Rioa probably, 1 Cenotaph Warlock with Div, Con, or yeah, Mir Con will do Strand or well, or even we end up just might doing probably just 4 wells. I do have the Strand super because, you know, it's nice to deal with like majors and stuff. And then in the 5th for the Hunter, Orpheus Rig, or Star Eater Blade Barrage for the major with Xenophage. And then for the Titan, Banner of War with Aeons, or if there is a powerful major that we have to deal with in the encounter, there's only like one of them, you could also run Thunder Crash with Xenophage as well for the Titan. Basically the whole team's on Xeno, except for the 2 Warlocks using the exotic trace rifles. But yeah, Xeno cooks are weapons that are good, just Cartesian, Riptide, Bound Top, Forbearance, and Dead Kindness. And then all the Warlocks running Xeno should be using double special. Yeah. Lastly, like, I mean, pretty obvious shit, but I just wanted to point it out just to make sure we're all on the same page here. Every single wipe, you got to look at what you can do better. Don't worry about our teammates, okay? If you're having trouble, call out for help. There is no humility here, okay? Taking accountability is the best thing you can do. If someone on the team is playing bad, it's okay to let them know and never take criticism too seriously. Everyone has the same goal, and that's getting worlds first, doing the day one as fast as possible. Simple as that. If we all execute, stay alive, and do our part while being able to listen to each other, it is a foolproof system, my friends, okay? We will do this. Also, just keeping mechanics and comms as simple as possible. Figuring out raid mechanics, it's usually not that deep. It's pretty simple. If you think it is the simplest thing you can think of, that's probably what the mechanic is. And Rio is going to play with us a lot more, so once we recognize each other's voices, which the five of us already do quite well, it's usually not that complicated and involves seeing like one thing on one side and I bringing a relic over, or calling something out to the opposite side. Like that's usually what the mechanic is, like 80% of the time, and then there's like some bonus thing for like a boss encounter to prevent you from wiping after a damage phase or something. It's usually just that, nothing more. But yeah, I mean, also just play your life over everything. Survivability is key in these. Min-maxing damage is the difference between a 4 phase and a 4 phase, right? Another fun tip, I've seen a lot of people do this. If you're desperate in a damage phase and you just don't have your guns loaded, never go in for a fucking uncharged melee. You will die. I know that's like such a stupid thing and seems obvious, but just reload your gun and shoot the gun. You should never uncharged melee anything in a day one, because usually you get one shot by melee attacks. So, yeah. Another thing, don't accidentally switch weapons if you're holding a relic. Odds are there's always like a relic type thing in some raid, right? So don't do what I did on Crota and tap your scroll wheel and accidentally drop the sword. Lesson learned. But yeah, that's pretty much the most of it. Like if you're changing something in your loadout that affects the team too, like switching on or off a team exotic like Sino or Phoenix protocol, for example, speak up. Because like that, just important shit, talk about it. Non important shit, don't talk about it. We need to do a better job of keeping comms clear, and whenever someone calls someone out, they're only trying to help. No one should feel stupid. No one should be ganging up on anyone. And if comms get heated, remember, everyone has the same goal. There's no hard feelings. That being said, it's never any reason to get aggressive either. But yeah, basically, like, last thing, during runs, we are solely talking about mechanics, nothing else. We are focused on the raid in the run. That's it. If we want to change up our strategy or talk about anything else, we do that in between wipes. That's it. So I think we're all smart enough, right? The step one's the prep. You get that done, we're chilling. Okay, we're all smart, competent players. So the last thing is just continuing to build team synergy. So I made a list here of like low-mans and other stuff we can do leading up to day one Pantheon together. And I need to make this clear. I think that everyone on the team is more than capable. And it's not that I doubt anyone's ability. I don't view myself above anyone else on the team. We're all equals, okay? I know myself, along with the whole team, would benefit from doing master raids before the team. It's the closest thing to contest environment and the perfect scenario to practice these builds before the raid. So basically, just to build synergy, I have it split 2 warlocks on each team. So list of trios we can do. I have the team split there. So Nick, Francis, Rioa, Eli, Caught, and Hardev. This is also the same groups that we would go into in a day one, where say we have to split into 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 2. So if we have these teams already have synergy together, then it can, I think that'll benefit us quite a bit. So Nick, Francis, Rioa, Eli, Khan, Hardev. For trios, Trio Pantheon, just the Atrax one, I think is a good difficulty test, more than its mechanics. Trio Vow, I think that's a good like mechanical trio just to practice. Trio King's Fall as well. Totems is kind of a pain, right? But other than that, it's a good trio to do. And Trio Crota's End. Just because it's the newest raid, it's most likely comparable to what the new raid is going to be like in terms of difficulty. So That's a good 3-man to practice right there. And I'm not saying like I'm just saying literally just do the clears once of these. And then for duos, I got the groups like Nick and Rioa, Francis and Khan, Hardev and Eli. And if we all do duo Road of Nightmares, just because that's like a really good, especially Explicator and Nezarek, um, I think they're really good test of staying alive and also yeah, being able to like stay alive and do mechanics because it is a lot, right, doing a duo. So um and again, I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to micromanage anyone, I'm not trying, like, I'm doing this for my sake too, because I feel like I can do better and I can prep more. This is for me. I want to do this for myself. And if you guys were all able to do this as well, just some point before the day one, I promise it doesn't look like as much stuff as it is. Like, it's just that we all haven't gotten on at the same time, so we haven't really been able to do anything. We just get on the game and do nothing. But I promise you, it wouldn't be that hard to do. These are easy low mans that we can knock out, and I think they're really good practice. And then for master raids as a team, we should do Crota's End, Vow, Root of Nightmares, and then of course the Nezarec Pantheon, which we'll be doing at launch. And I'm not saying you have to do this stuff right now. I'm just saying this is amazing stuff to practice before the day one, and I think it could benefit everyone, including me. I'm well aware everyone has jobs, and if you can't get all this stuff done, I understand, but I highly recommend trying to do as many of this stuff as you can before the day one. It's a great test of skill. And yeah, last thing I wanted to talk about now is bounty prep. I'm not going to force you to bounty prep because, you know, we're all human beings and we have lives, and bounty prepping is literally the most boring thing you can do in this game. That being said, though, when you're doing activities um, that you're just like playing, pick up bounties that you can get done in those activities, because, you know, if you can even have just a few bounties prepped before the day one or before final shape releases, that'll give you a bit of a bit of an advantage right away. So no, you know, if you can do it, definitely helps. But if you don't do it, I would not worry about it in the slightest. It's not a it is definitely not your top priority to bounty prep like a lot of people say it is. Okay, like if anything, there's just gonna be an AFK farm that we can use again. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If anyone has any questions or has any concerns, wants to talk to me, I'm always open. Please talk to me. Love you guys. Let's get worlds first.